thank you so much for giving us a few minutes. This is not the first IDEX, and IDEX has gone so far. And IDEX was coined as a thought leadership gathering to bring new ideas, because Sarawak didn't start early in digital economy and high technology for digital economy. So now that IDEX has partnered in 2023 with WCIT, and MDEC is a very strong force behind the move also for this forum in BCCK this year. How do you see Sarawak in the light of digital economy, layered to what MDEC has to do? Because even in Semenanjung, or Malaya as these people here like to call us back there, even in Semenanjung there's a lot of gaps, not just digital gap, not just digital economy gap. And COVID just showed that point blatantly to us. Not all students have tablets and all. And here we're still talking about number of towers and connectivity. So from your vantage point, hearing what the keynote speaker Mike Walsh has said, how do you see it now?
Well, I think generally with regards to the challenges and where as far as the starting line is with regards to Sarawak vis-a-vis what Malaysia, the rest of the Peninsula Malaysia, obviously Sarawak would have to solve and address the fundamental issues. Connectivity would be one. I think when we spoke about, when the speakers spoke about all these things, what is important and imperative here is very much about the infrastructure. So connectivity, the towers, communication towers, and also options for being connected must be in place. So while we do have Jendela over there, I would like to laud what Sarawak is also taking its own initiative through SMA, through the SMART project, to actually work on those. Obviously, I think the satellite broadband helps a lot. We hope from a federal perspective, by having Starlink as well, offering those services on top of the other players as well, competition to bring the to lower the cost will be something there. Then we can talk about the digital economy solutions, then we can talk about the devices.
Now I want to, you're not a futurist, but I want you to play that role because Mike was saying all of us are futurists. As leaders, we all need to look into the future.
Yep.
And he gave a very simple analogy. Tesla is like iPhones on wheels.
Okay.
So yes, infrastructure is important, but that's not the end. It's just to facilitate what we're going to do in that ecosystem infrastructure. So what role do you think Sarawak can play? Because we don't have to wait for a linear progression of this kind of development. While we're doing the infra and closing the digital gap, the talents, the R&D, the IPs, for example, and because we are not so rich like the developed nation, we have to choose wisely the few areas that we can really invest in. For digital technology, for Sarawak, with its ecosystem and advantage of green, renewable energy and everything else, what do you think is the best thing for Sarawak to do?
Well, I think the move to establish digital villages across Sarawak, whether it's in Sarike, Miri, Bintulu and things like that, would be a very good start. So it is very much community driven, highlighting and floating up issues that are affecting different parts of Sarawak. So it is a region, it is not one city. So development of certain corridors, if you may, within Sarawak would be a very good start. By having those kind of digital communities, you can create new kind of talents. Again, arising from the demands from solving the issues that is very much regional. So I see Sarawak as being progressive in that, and I like the fact that they keep saying and repeating that the economy, the digital economy blueprint, is not cast in stone, it's a living document. So they need to be able to look at it and definitely revisit that every year.
A bit more generic now to link more of the macro picture. At Mike, for example, Mike put together the best of public sector and the best of private sector, either local or international, and looking at to prosper high technology for the people. So in that kind of initiative for digital economy, if you can choose one thing to really look at, like Mike Walsh was asking us, if you look forward 5 years, what can you do now that when you interview the young people of that time, that they would want to work with you? So if I put the same analogy to you, what would you want for high technology, public, private, not even public and private, maybe the quadruple healing, public, private, academia, and civil society, to all come together. What would you think is the one thing that you would love for this kind of initiative to really look at?
I think coming from possibly MIND being the high-tech agency and looking at the biggest, like you said, the best from both worlds, there's a few bets that we can look at. I know MIND has spawned off into automotive industry, and now I think space and also rail of late. The kind of infrastructure in terms of physical infrastructure, as we build the rest, the physical infrastructure would have to come in as well. So those would solve quite a number of issues and problems that we have logistically within parts of Malaysia, but more so applicable in Sarawak. So that would be the kind of bets and investments that we should do. We shouldn't be at the behest of the technology players, whether it's space, rail or otherwise. So this is where I think the investment from a country should be looking towards that, and then we add more technology to enable that.
I have tons more, but I'm going to have to be disciplined. I only choose one to end this conversation. One other thing that I pick up from Mike was is we can't look at product anymore. We have to look at platform.
Yep.
And of course, with big tech, Meta, Alphabet, big tech media technology platform has been around for years, and we've been using it. Question is, how do we as a nation play that game? Because when it comes to platform, size does matter, technology does matter. It's already as a utility, not as a nice to have. So do you feel that we can go that way by doing incremental small things like sandbox first and see whether we can grow it? Or like Mike was said, just take that risk?
Okay, I think when I look at sandboxes, it's more on testing the regulations rather than testing the technology. The technology can be tested by different communities. We already have the R&D community on top of the higher education to actually do that. So the big leaps and the policies would have to enable and to be tested within the sandboxes. But for the technology, aim high, go for the big ones. Because the investments that you do into that particular thing can evolve and can actually become something else that we can do.
Just a follow-up based on your answer. So would MNEC be favorable, backed by science and data and technology, to push for policy change where the media industry has never been looked upon as a pillar of our key economic viability moving forward? None of the RMK from 1 to 12 include media sector as an industry pillar. But how are we going to have big tech? How are we going to have a Meta? And how are we going to have... I'm just putting it back to you.
Yes. I think media is quite wide. The same thing with the creative industry as well. I think confining it and tackling it into smaller pieces would be something that we have been doing so far. But yet today we cannot get the music and also the film industry to join forces to do that, because they each have different things. Same thing with the media. KKD could be used as a good platform to actually address some of these things rather than smaller issues, but tackle the innovation within the media industry. The use of AI, the use of VR presents an opportunity for the media industry to take advantage. The use of, say, for example, the interpreter and the use of avatars, for example, would be something. So it will revolutionize how we do media. Besides the 5G technology to transmit data and things like that. So definitely I think there's an option for KKD to be used as a medium for that, and I think that's the only ministry looking at media at the moment.
So put it this way, in short, if there's a good initiative and proposal backed by data and science, MDEC is always open.
Yes.
Thank you